with Larry. We're going to be talking with Larry Tracy, IQ Al Rizzoli, and a whole host of folks today here on our program. I do want to start with Larry. Larry is going to be for the next several weeks filling in for Don Mazzella, who is having some surgery and is in the hospital and all sorts of stuff. But Larry, last week we weren't on due to some technical difficulties, so there was a lot going on. I'm going to let you have the floor and give us your thoughts and feelings on all sorts of different things, and then we will get to our guest at some stage here, my friend. Go ahead and take it away, my man.
Well, I'd say the two top things right now are the Texas Democrats who have fled Texas because they want to avoid whatever Governor Abbott is looking to do. This whole thing of gerrymandering is a disgrace. Both parties use it. They sort of select their own voters and they draw the lines that way. That's not the way the government was supposed to be set up. The Democrats do it more than the Republicans do. I mean, you look at some of the maps of districts and they make no sense geographically. As now, what Governor Abbott is able to do, I don't know. It appears to me he said I guess he's going to send Texas Rangers up to Illinois and arrest them. But I don't know how that's happening. It is very, very sloppy. I somehow wish we could get the Congress to outlaw gerrymandering completely. But that's it. And the other thing is Trump, Putin, and possibly Zelensky all meeting. And you have to watch it when Putin is involved in a meeting because he's lying. Zelensky's going to try and put the situation as most favorable to him. And in the meantime, you've got soldiers on both sides dying. The Russian army has suffered so much in these last 3 years, their own fault, because they did the invading. But they're no longer the threat to NATO that they were before. So maybe NATO is looking for a chance to go after the Russians because they've been weakened considerably. So those are the two things I think are going to dominate the next week. How the Bureau of Labor Statistics works out, because Trump is going to try and get a statistician in there that reflects what we would think would be a good jobs report, but it was less than what was anticipated. Tim Cook yesterday making an announcement about Apple's investment is a favorable thing. And down the road, there are so many foreign investments that are coming in that the tariffs seem to be making headway. I think one of the things that a lot of people are looking at, with all the money flowing into the Treasury, is Trump going to follow up with something that he dropped the hint at of having rebates? Politically, that would make a lot of sense. Like, everybody getting a check signed by Donald Trump would be advantageous, and it would cause people to see here is the benefit. When we just talk about investments coming in and how much money coming to the Treasury, that doesn't really hit home with most people. If indeed tariffs are going to cause, as one estimate I recently saw, a $2,000 increase in cost of living, well then maybe send out a check of $2,000 to cover that. Politically, I think that would be great for him to do. But a lot of Republican senators don't want to do that. They're looking to pay down the debt, which is certainly an admirable goal, but wouldn't be bad to send a check to everybody so that they could see for themselves that the economy is indeed improving, as the administration is saying. It's just going to take a little while to go. So those, I think, are the three main things we're looking at right now.
So we've got Larry Tracy with us today. He is the author of How to Bring Home the Bacon. He is also a public speaking expert and former military man. He joins us this week here on our big program. IQ Al Rizzoli is going to be with us here in a few, but we also have a guest. And go to our guest. He joins us today. David Pissarra is with us. He's the author of the best-selling book Dad's Child Custody Action Plan: Insider Secrets to Family Court Success. And he joins myself, Larry Tracy, and IQL Rizzoli at some point on this program. So David, talk to me and Larry a little bit about your book here. And I know that Larry's going to have some questions for you here in a few.
Hey guys, great to be here. I'm really excited to have this conversation. My book, Dad's Child Custody Action Plan, is designed for fathers who are fighting in family court to get more time with their kids. This is for the dads that have to go to court to get more time to be a father. It's designed to give them the information they need to convince a judge that they're a great dad. You know, most dads go into court and they say, I'm a great dad, give me my 50% custody. And the judge just looks at them like, you haven't said anything, sir. Everybody's a great dad. You got to tell me more. Mom's telling me you're this lazy guy who's negligent, who doesn't know anything about the kids and can't be trusted with them. You don't even know their shoe size. Tell me something about your kids. And the guys freeze. And so what the book is designed to do is designed so that a man can do, we call the kid inventory. It's 123 questions that you're not going to know all the answers to, but you're going to start surfacing the things you do know about your kids that you can then put into a declaration, sometimes called an affidavit, that gets filed with the judge before you go into court. So the judge is reading that in chambers, and when they come out and they see you, they have a really good impression of you because they've already known something about you by what you put in that paperwork. And so the goal for me is to get this book to as many dads as possible who are fighting to have time with their kids. Because in today's society, we need men to step in and be the fathers and the role models that these kids need.
Fantastic. So Larry, you're an author yourself. You have any questions here for David?
Well, no, it's just that I know some people who have been in that situation, going through a divorce, fighting it, and it is very tough for it. And I think it also has to remember the kids are in the middle, and they're the ones with two parents fighting and going into court, and you wonder what that's going to impact that's going to have on their future lives. Because I've known people who are grown now who went through that situation, so. I think anything that could help the dads and probably on the other side the mothers as well to do it, to be able to do it so that an equitable decision is made at the end for the family how they're going to be. It's a product of modern life where this happens, where families are tense and then are have to go to court. So I think a book like David's would be helpful to people to know how to conduct themselves when they go in, and lawyers to be able to know how to best set
Yep.
this stage up for them. There's here in the Washington area, there's a law firm. I think it's Cordell is the name of it. They're the ones
Yep.
that and they're advertising all the time with a nice calm voice by the head of the firm, the founder.
Yep.
His name is Cordell, and giving that. So that would be good. So the David, you're obviously familiar with that firm, and those lawyers
If
should.
you look, I don't know if you guys can see, but behind me, there's a Wall Street Journal article, and it's me and Cordell in the Wall Street Journal.
Oh,
They did a whole
okay.
That is
Well,
article
awesome.
on men's law
that's good
firms.
then. Glad I hit that point to bring that out.
You're right there, buddy.
That is
Okay.
awesome. We have got David Pissarro with us today. He is the author of the best-selling book Dad's Child Custody Action Plan: Insider Secrets to Family Court Success. We had him recently on our business program, Build, Grow, and Enjoy, and I wanted to have David on today with the great Larry Tracy and IQL Rizzoli to discuss his book. So, one of the things that you bring up in your book, David, because you've got basically 25 years of experience advocating for dads in custody and divorce cases. One of the things that you bring up in the book, and I would like you to get a little bit more details here with the guys and me, is how to speak to the judge so they actually listen and trust you. Break that down for all of us.
Absolutely. You know, one of the biggest problems people have is going into court is they're really, really anxious. And one of the reasons they hire lawyers is because they A, don't know what to say, or B, more importantly, don't know when to shut up. So what we're doing in my book is I tell dads, like, write out what you want to say. Go in with bullet points so that you can actually speak effectively to the judge. But more importantly than that, you have to have your emotions under control. Work out the anger, the frustration, do whatever you've got to do and get that out of the way before you go into court. Get ready for the mud the other side's going to sling so that you can stay in court, stay focused, and you can be assertive but not angry. Because if you go in angry, if you show anger to a judge, that's almost a dead bang loser. Because the judge sees that and is like, wait a second, mom says he's angry. Mom says the kids are afraid of him. Mom says that he's dangerous around the kids. And oh, wait, there's that anger. Maybe she's right. Maybe I do need to put some things in to protect these kids. And so if a man goes into court and he's got his arguments laid out with bullet points that are clear, and he's calm because he's worked out his anger issues beforehand, and he knows how to be assertive and say to the judge, Your Honor, I would like to have this time with our kid because it's in the child's best interest for me to be coaching their baseball team, for me to have them to work their homework Monday through Friday. Whatever it is, whatever your arguments are, a judge is going to be able to listen to that and then respect you for it because you're coming in as a cool, calm, collected individual, not someone who's angry and hurt because she left me and I can't see my kids and this is all the corrupt system and you're taking all my money and I never get to see my kids. Put all that stuff to the side. You've got to get in there and really be effective in your arguments. And that's what my book is designed to do, to help dads develop their arguments, both in writing with our declaration. We have a sample document in the book. You get to actually see what's the outline. What is it you're going to actually be showing the judge? We're going to figure out how to develop that information with the kid inventory. We're going to have exhibits that you're going to use that you're going to attach to your declaration. And I give you a script on how to get your exhibits into the courtroom. Because if an exhibit isn't admitted, the judge can't rely on it. And the important thing is to have a judge have all the information they need to rule in your favor. Because if you're an awesome dad, you should be having, as Larry was saying, 50% custody. We're looking for an equitable division of time so that both parents can bear the responsibility of being a parent, both financially and time wise, because that's what the kids need.
So, IQ Rizzoli, do you have any questions here for David while we've got him here on the line?
David, were you a lawyer? Because I wasn't on the early stage of the start of the conversation. Are you a lawyer?
I am a lawyer. I've been practicing for 26 years in Los Angeles, California.
Well, from what you just said, you must be extremely successful.
Well, I have my moments. Let's put it that way.
You know, let me say something, James, about
Yes,
that.
go ahead, Larry.
Listening to David's explanation of don't let the emotions get in the way and be angry. David, my background, in addition to being a retired Army colonel, but during the Reagan administration, I was the main debater and defender of the Reagan Central American policy, which was very controversial. And I spoke primarily to hostile audiences. And I had to go into that knowing that I was going to be goaded by them and to not lose control of the emotions, to hit strictly with the facts, and to use humor where I could to a degree. You don't want to use too much humor, and you wouldn't with the judge anyway. But the idea of not wanting to continue to talk. A friend of mine who has now passed away was a judge in Los Angeles, in your area. And he was an old Army friend, then went to law school and was practiced law, and then he was appointed to, I think, the California Supreme Court. I may not have the right, but he said that what he would do when a lawyer was talking and talking, he would say, "Counselor, is this airplane ever going to land?" It was a way to shut them up a little bit and to let them know that they're talking too much. So that rang when you brought that up. I thought of what my friend Al Buckner had said, and he said it's something that give the quick and the sharp lawyers know then to say, well, in summary, and end their talk at that point. You don't want to talk your audience to death.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I tell dads to do is, courts are open and you should go in and you should spend a day or two or three beforehand sitting in there watching this judge. Learn what makes them laugh, learn what makes them angry, learn how to convince them to thinking the way you want them to think. Because, like everything, this is a sales job. You are selling yourself to that court, and you've got to know your audience. I have judges. I can walk in. We have a great rapport. I can be joking with them and we can be laughing and we can get to serious when we need to get serious. And I have other judges that there is not a chance in the world that I would crack a joke with because they don't have the sense of humor. They're looking at it very seriously. And you have to know who your audience is because if you try and crack the joke with the wrong judge, you're in trouble. But if you've got a judge where you can actually like lighten things up a little bit, you're probably actually going to have a good shot at getting what it is you want because you know who that person is. Humor is a great way to get into people and really and let them understand your humanity.
Yeah, in my field, in my background, that was know your audience. And let the audience know you somehow by providing some background information. When I went out as an Army colonel, I was assigned to the State Department. They were wondering, well, why is an Army colonel coming from the State Department out here? Well, I was transferred over there by the White House just for the fact of my perceived ability that I could argue that way. But I think you have to know them. They have to know your background. And in this case, I think sitting in the court a couple of days watching that, I think that's invaluable advice so you know what to do. Know who the person is you're speaking to and know how they're going to react to what you are delivering. And you're right, selling. You're selling yourself and you're selling your client's position on it.
Mm-hmm.
Just amazing stuff. We've got David Pissarro with us today. He joins us live here on our big broadcast. Our next guest is going to be with us here in a few moments. But David, another thing that you talk about in your book is the secret to proving you're a great dad with hard, undeniable evidence. Break this down for me and Larry and IQ.
One of the big things that a dad can do when he's going into court is bring pictures and video. You know, we say pictures are worth 1,000 words. Well, video's got to be worth 1,000,000 because there's so much more information packed in there. And if you have video and if you have pictures, you need to get that evidence in. You need to bring it to the court. And with my book, we actually have scripts that explain to dads, here's how you mark and identify those exhibits so that you can have them then admitted into court once you lay a foundation. The script is designed so that a dad can, in basically 3 steps, mark and identify something, have a foundation laid, and then ask the court to admit that piece of that exhibit into evidence. And one of the reasons why that's so important is because once a judge is able to see a video of you interacting with your kid, if he can hear their giggles, if he can hear their laughter, if he can see the love between you, they're going to find it much, much harder to rule against you when you're going into court. This is the sort of stuff that's you're basically bringing in testimony from a child when that child isn't actually in the courtroom. That's why photos and videos are so incredibly powerful as exhibits.
That's awesome. We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live. David Pissarro is with us. He's got this incredible, incredible book. David, take us through your writing process because with IQ and Larry, they both have written incredible books. We always want to know what people's writing process is like. So give us some details here, my friend.
Sure. So for me, what I do is I tend to outline things. I will sit at a computer and I'll just bang out an outline of I know I want to hit these 5 major topics, and then I'll start filling in, well, what are the subtopics that need to be put in there? And then because it's a document, I can move those pieces around. And then when my outline is essentially completed, now I can go back and just fill it in, and it makes the process for me very, very easy. I have found that once I have a structure of, I know I'm going to be talking about this item, then these 2 sub items, and this sub item, makes it a very simple process for me to bang out a book.
Larry, what do you think about that?
No, I think that's it. So for my presentations, and I train people in, I call it the 3-1-2 method to develop your conclusion first. Yeah. And of course, that's exactly coming right out of law school, right? Bringing that, you know what it is you want to do. But a lot of people spend so much time on their introduction that their time limits come up and they haven't had a chance to really outline their conclusion. So develop your conclusion first, then work back. You You develop it, you draft 3-1-2, and you deliver 1-2-3, and that puts you within a disciplined way. And the most important thing you're fighting is time. You got to be able to do this within a time limit, and I think that would help to do it. But certainly know your audience, know what they're taking, know what the biases are that an audience has. Now, the judge is supposed to be a judge, so he's not going to have any biases, but he's a human being, so he's going to have certain things there. I wouldn't want to jump into David's area, but I found in audiences when I would speak to them, and even they would be somewhat hostile, a lot of these were colleges, I would get there a day before, and I would meet people so that they then thought of me not as a corporate figure from Washington, but as a human being. And some they would say, well, let's want to go on out and have a beer. We'll do that the night before, but not before the presentation. But that those informal things, you can gain a lot of intelligence that way on the people and on the audience you're speaking to. So I think there's an amazing similarity to what David's approach is to judge and what my approach is to an audience on it. So hearing David as an experienced lawyer, it's validating what my theory was to me.
It's validating for me to hear someone who used to work in the State Department say that works. I'm like, all right. Got a couple good quotes there, Mr. Tracy.
Yeah.
You know, one of the other things I do that may be a usefulness to people is I tend to come up with my titles first, because
Yes.
I find that if my title is correct and communicates what I want the subject to be, the rest of it sort of flows out of that. You know, I bounced around probably 10 different titles for this book before settling on Dad's Child Custody Action Plan. And essentially, it's my audience, my topic, and the result. It's the audience is dads, the topic is child custody, and the result is you have an action plan of something to do. And what I have found is that when I've done that historically with the other books that I've written, it makes it very easy and everything sort of flows out of that.
That's
David, let me
awesome.
ask you, when you're getting ready to appear before a judge, do you do a dry run before someone else to practice? Let's say, in what I bring from the military, it's a rather nasty term, but we call it the murder board.
Yeah.
And you can call it anything you want, but that is what it is. And I compare that to a pilot's flight simulator, that you make your mistakes on the ground in a flight simulator, and you make your mistakes and recover from them in a practice session ahead of time. So I just don't know if you do the same thing.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I had a very contentious divorce. Over 15 months, we did 14 different court appearances, 14 days of trial that was just dribbled out. It was a bloody nightmare. At the end, when we were looking at closing arguments were rehearsed because I wanted that to have the most impact. You know, when you're in the middle of the battle, it's not so important to have everything rehearsed because with 25 years experience, I can kind of go with the flow. I'm used to thinking on my feet. But when it comes to something that's really important, you should have a rehearsal. You should be practiced so that you at least know at a minimum the outline of what it is you want to achieve, which is back to why you should walk in with at least your bullet points. What I have found is that if people walk in and they have everything written out like word for word, they're going to become stilted. They're not going to read properly. It's a bad move. The authenticity gets lost. But if you go in with bullet points and you have rehearsed it enough, there's a natural flow, some authenticity that comes through where a judge or an audience can look at you and be like, I really connect with this person. And that's what you want. You want the judge to connect with you as a person.
That's awesome. IQ Alrizzoli. Any questions here for our
No,
for
but
our guest?
I'm learning because they are right. You have to put your conclusion first. Otherwise, you haven't got time to explain it. So I put my conclusions and then defend it. In my articles to you, I do exactly the same thing every single time.
Yep.
I accuse whoever it is with whatever I want to accuse them of, and then prove it. Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's so logical when you think about it, but you don't always think about it. It's a step-by-step item, and if you do it the right way, you can win the audience. No question about that.
Well, David, as we wrap up here with you, my friend, uh, you're more than welcome to hang out for while we interview our next guest and contribute if you've got time, if you have desire for that. But before we go to our next guest, give us a wrap up here. How do we get your book and get involved with what you're doing online, my friend?
The best way for people to get a hold of me is to go to dadslawschool.com. That's dadslawschool.com. We have both a book there. There'll be a pop-up where you can get the book, but we also have Dad's Law School VIP program, which is for fathers who want more. They want our video courses that teach them how to argue in front of a judge, how to write that declaration, how to introduce evidence, how to gather evidence. And we've got weekly meetups, and I would love to stick around, but I actually have to get ready because our weekly meetup is coming right up this afternoon. So we're squeezing you guys in.
Well,
That's
David,
dadslawschool.com.
David, this has been fantastic. You are amazing. Thank you for making some time for me and Larry and IQ. This has definitely been a great success here. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. We are going to go to our next guest. She is going to join us here in just a few moments. Doctor, how are you, my friend?
I am fine. How are you?
Pretty good, actually. Uh, give everybody a brief introduction on the topic and everything that we're going to be talking with you today.
Okay, this is my book, Real Men Don't Go Woke. And obviously, I mean, if you're interested in talking about the crazy feminists, they're not too happy with me, but I can live through it. I don't know these women. I don't care about knowing these women. They're mean women. I wrote a piece for that was an op-ed that was published just recently, talking about how women have gotten meaner and men have gotten more silent and suicidal. And that's what this book is all about. Men's suicides are 4 times greater than that of women.
Yeah.
And the depression and the loneliness and the decrease in testosterone and the thinning out of the Y chromosome and all the other things that go with that has been a horrifying experience for a lot of men. They're called toxic before they wake up in the morning, and then they're trying to defend
Yeah.
themselves throughout their entire days. And it's really horrifying. So there have been very few women who have been speaking out about this. I am the spokesperson, they made me the spokesperson for the International Council for Men and Boys because I am a woman and because this affects women more than anybody realizes. Not the crazy women. It's affecting the normal women, the women who love men and want to put them beside them as partners, and they're finding it more and more difficult to do that. So is that enough? I can give you lots of.
Hey, I love it. I love it. And you know, Larry Tracy, it's almost like she's done this before.
Well, this is my 19th book, so I've been around
There you go. There
a little
you
bit.
go.
But most of my other books, except for 2 business books, because I teach MBA courses, everything else was women's books, talking to them about raising their self-esteem. And then when I was a love doc on MTV, I wrote a book called Don't Lie on Your Back for a Guy Who Doesn't Have Yours. And these young women come to me and they're saying, oh, but I gave them
That is amazing.
everything. That's terrible. I gave them everything. And still they left. And I said, well, that's the problem. Maybe you ought to start feeling comfortable about who you are before you give away the store. And mothers and fathers in particular were thanking me for writing that book. Now mothers are thanking me for writing Real Men Don't Go Woke. Really, really important to get this information out there because mainstream media refuses to do so.
Well, at least you admit you are a woman.
Yes, I do. And peculiarly enough, I know what a woman is.
Well, try to tell it to the women in the left side. They don't even know what it is.
You're right. So maybe they ought to put me on the Supreme Court, although I'm not an attorney.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you do a better job. No question about it.
Well,
None, none
there
at
are
all.
some I do not agree with. That is for certain.
So IQ, what do you think of this book and everything the doctor's saying here today, my friend?
Well, she's right. Look what's happening in American men, supposed to be men, and they're losing it. I mean, I don't need anybody to tell me who I am. I look at myself in the mirror and I have to decide every single day, are you genuine? What's right with you? What's wrong with you? That's the way my philosophy is. Simple, not complicated.
Yeah.
Don't bullshit yourself. Look in the
Well,
mirror, don't
Well,
bullshit yourself. And
you
that's
know
it.
what? It gets even more disgusting when I do read comments on all my social media, and I'm on everything. And there was somebody who posted something on Instagram, and it said male suicides is something that we ought to know about. One woman wrote, the rates ought to be higher. And then,
God
most,
damn, what a deal.
whoa, it got even worse. Because
Wow.
7,000 women liked that post.
Of
I
course
went
they
crazy.
did.
I just went crazy. I don't know who these women are. I don't befriend them. None of them are in my circle. So I can't even comment about their psychological um, stability. I can't say anything about that. I don't know why they would have such hate towards men. I mean, it makes no sense. Maybe they went through a bad divorce. Okay, so a lot of people have. You don't go off and hating an entire gender. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe men aren't a gender anymore to them. I don't know.
I
You know,
watch,
Amazing.
it's
sorry,
it's really horrible. So I posted that when I saw 7,000 people had liked that post. I posted it on TikTok, and so far I just checked the number. I have over 50,000 people who have liked my commentary about I don't know who these women are, but this is something we really ought to think about.
Yeah.
So,
I think
and
you're
you know, it surprises me that so many men are not aware of the male suicide rate. This is pretty shocking because I'm out there on the circuit. I've been telling everybody about this, and it's surprising to me that men are not aware of this. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No. Larry, jump in there, my
Well, I
friend.
just the title of your book reminds me of it. Might have been a title or just a saying back in the '80s. Real men don't eat quiche. So I would imagine you took that as your inspiration.
Not even close. But then, of course, I realized that that was a book in the 80s that did very, very well. And this book is doing much better than I thought it would be. The mainstream media refused to publish it. And so I said, okay, listen, as I said, this is my 19th book. I've been around the block and I know about publishing, and I've published with the big publishers, and I've published on Amazon. And this one I went a step above Amazon because I wanted to have more of a say in the cover and the design. And you know what? I had total control and I made it look like a man's manual. So it's very attractive for men to read. And the feedback that I have gotten from men around the world has been extraordinary. One man told me that he had just lost his wife, his money, his children, his income, and he was ready to commit suicide. And then he picked up my book and he said, "Whoa." And it was because of this book that he did not, he said. There was another man, and this guy was in the UK. Another man from Brussels said he knows he's a man, but he's so sick and tired of hearing about all the negativity of toxicity that he has now decided to declare himself non-binary. So he's not a man, he's not a woman. Well, that's a way out. I mean, this is crazy. But the mean
Hold
women
on there, baby.
it's just insane. But look what's happened when a pretty young thing is advertising jeans in our culture, and all of a sudden, Sydney Sweeney is called a Nazi for advertising jeans. Where are these people coming from? This is outlandish. And then Lizzo got into the mix, and she said, well, my jeans, she's very dark skinned, and she said, my jeans are brown or black, whatever she said. And, I couldn't believe all the furor over any of this because it doesn't make sense. There is no reasoning that goes from jeans, Jeans, to anything meaning Nazism or anything that even resembles that. It doesn't make sense. But they're freaking out, and so I said, "Look, my hair's red. My jeans are red. I'm just throwing it all out there." I mean, and if we don't honestly laugh about this, we're going to be taken down by it.
IQ Al Rizzoli, jump in there, my friend. I know you probably got some questions for her. And
I watch the programs in America, and
Well,
I watch the programs in America, and what I found extremely interesting, most of the unhinged women you're talking about are middle-aged, believe it or not, middle-aged white women, completely unhinged, unattractive, mostly unattractive physically, and unattractive mentally. I promise you, if you watch it long enough, you'll come to the same conclusion. Middle age.
I don't know about their age range. I honestly don't, because when I questioned why Real Men don't go woke would not be published by one of the major publishers, my agent said, well, most of them are in their mid-30s, and they are the editors, and they are the decision makers, and they are 100% woke. Now, this is fascinating to me because the men are not. Either they're staying put as they are, or they're moving towards conservatism. So the women are coming to me because I give advice. And the women are coming to me and they say they can't find a man. Well, what do you expect if you cut him down and castrate him and cancel him? Who's going to want you? So I don't know if these older women are some of these women that you caught, but for the most part, what I have seen is that they have been younger women. And it is shocking to me that they want to find a partner, and yet they can't find a partner because they're so evil and they're so nasty and they're just so mean to each other.
I will have to say, Doctor, you are a breath of fresh air.
Thank you. I'm just being honest.
One of the guys that I consider a radio hero used to broadcast in Los Angeles by the name of Tom Likas, and he used to talk about this all the time with all these women and some of the ways that they behave. So you are just speaking the gospel here, my friend.
Hallelujah. Well,
one of the things, and I also wanted to follow up on this. One of the things that I always find interesting about women, especially, is we do a lot of coverage of fighting events. We go and interview MMA guys, pro wrestlers, all the stuff, and I always find it interesting that at especially the mixed martial arts shows or the boxing shows, or where the combat athletic type shows, you've got women all over the place because they want a real man.
Real man. Bingo. Where are these guys? I have hundreds of women that I'm quoting in the book saying, where's the real men?
Yeah.
Where are they? What's happening here? But it's so, you see this happening as time goes on with these guys internalizing all the negative.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
the danger because I did a book signing. I live in Scottsdale, Arizona,
Okay.
and I did a book signing. And usually, you get 10, 20 people at a book signing. This place was mobbed. And people were just spilling out of the place that we held it. And I was talking about the suicide rates of men. And a lot of these people who come from a fairly decent incomes were shocked. They had not heard this before. And this is what's happening. A lot of people don't know about it. So then I said, and you better be very careful because watch your sons, because they're starting to commit suicide at age 10. And these people, some of them looked at me like I had two heads. So okay, the books all sold out. Everybody was happy. It was a wonderful event. And they all learned stuff that they had not known before. And then they left. The next morning, one of the participants, a woman, said, I can't stop crying. While you were talking about this, my girlfriend's 13-year-old son, my best friend's son, killed himself.
Holy smokes.
And you can't imagine
Yeah.
that. What in God's name would a 13-year-old child want to kill himself over? We,
It's
we know about bullies, we know about bullying, we know about how inadequate the schools are in dealing with this, and we also know about men, young men, also refusing to tell their parents or any adult to get help. It's just like men, grown-up men, who are not going to the doctor. They'll never go to the doctor unless a woman shoves them to the doctor.
Yep.
They don't want to get that kind of help because they just can't deal with feeling inadequate. And that's what these nasty women have made them feel. And I just don't stop just telling men, okay, this and this and this has been happening, and men are hiding from intimacy, and these are the kinds of things that they're hiding with. And they might be gay, they might be becoming furries, walking around like animals.
Well, there is that.
Yep, and I listed all of these things that are happening in our current lives that we're seeing. But I don't let women off the hook. Women have got to provide a safer space for men to express their feelings and fears. And if we don't, as a gender, I'm sorry, I'm still from the old two-gender system. If we don't, as a gender, then we are definitely not going to have any men left on this planet. And while everybody on one side of the coin is worrying about climate change, they ought to worry about in 11 million years, there will be no men left.
Larry Tracy, jump in there, my friend.
Well, I'm just thinking, what would you do for a guest on your program, James? If the doctor's you is right, but it is it's this way. I see this in professional life of women taking that view, and I sort of avoided. My wife is Filipina, and they are real women, and she cannot understand what we see with the modern women. The jeans commercial, I found that to be hilarious. I thought it was a wonderful play on words,
Me
and it
too.
was that's all it was. And then it was converted into Nazi propaganda. And I'm thinking, are these people real? Are they not saying it was? And they're probably the jeans are probably flying off the shelf. The company
They
is going to be
are.
making lots of money.
Their
Their stock is going up.
American Eagle
Yeah.
stock has gone all the way up.
Because when she said, because when she came on and said or the word said she has the right genes, I immediately realized the play on words and how clever that was. The advertising person that came up with that should get a prize. But
You're obviously a wordsmith, as I am. I thought it was brilliant. Yeah, I thought it was brilliant, brilliant marketing. I don't even remember American Eagle having such a tremendous draw in the advertising world before now. So it obviously did the trick.
You know, one of the absurdities was the fact is that proving that it was Nazi propaganda, that it was American Eagle. And what is the symbol of the United States but the eagle? And you just have their minds become so twisted that it all goes back to a hatred of Donald Trump. Blame it on him.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Look, all these women hate Donald Trump, but they also hate men in general who are not Donald Trump. I mean, how do you generalize from Donald Trump? You want to hate the man, that's your problem. But if you want to hate all the men, I mean, where is that coming from? I still don't understand it. You know, I talk about relationships. I'm a shrink. I talk about people's feelings and their fears and the things that they want to do with their lives and how this is preventing them from getting to their goals is beyond anything that I could imagine. Do these people have nothing better to do? I mean, I know that, look, I just finished this book. I was writing for a year, a solid year, doing all this research because this is heavily researched. I didn't wake up in the morning and say, gee, I think I'll write a make-believe book. Everything that I have in here is researched. And those were some of the comments that I got on Amazon. But when we see that people are not even paying attention to what's truly happening in our world, and it's filtering down to our children, and little boys are committing suicide. I mean, what about our children, our mothers, our daughters, our nieces? I don't understand how we can get this clarified. So I'm out there screaming and yelling on my platform, on every platform that I'm on, talking about this. And as a spokesperson for the International Council for Men and Boys, I have a bigger platform. And we're going to be speaking to lawmakers. Thank the Lord. Donald Trump came out and talked about the male suicide rate and talked about the loneliness that men are experiencing and talked about the depression. I don't understand why any other lawmakers have not.
Because it's a cultural problem you have. Believe me, I come from the Middle East. I'm from Iraq. No one in the Middle East living in America, no one from Asia living in America, no one from Latin America living in the United States of America suffered this problem. Mostly European ones. Don't take my word for it. Check it. Research it. You will find out it's a cultural problem. Nothing to do with men. Men from Asia are dominant. This is in the genetic code. They are dominant.
That's true. I have read all of those. I have read a lot of studies because I am teaching these MBA courses, and I know that who is the dominant gender and who is not. And when you look at some of these men who are not afraid to show that they have dominance, you look at them and you respect them and you say, oh my, I'm so thankful that the guy did speak out. But I know there's one example, a PhD I know was fired from his job when he spoke out. And he thanked me. That's in one of my reviews. He said, thank you so much, Dr. Gilda, because you have spoken the words that I can't in my company. What to squash men's voices so they learn to be silent?
That's why we come to James.
Well, women don't even respect that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take that back. Normal women don't respect it.
Yes.
These other ones, I mean, they want more men to die. They want more men to spiral downward. They don't like men. And I'm certain it comes from a place of not liking themselves.
Obviously.
That's where it starts.
That's why we come to James' program. He allows us to say what other people cannot say.
Well,
Well,
that's
doctor, your book is amazing. You have got some incredible things going on here. How do people get your book?
Oh, that's simple. Amazon. Very easy. Amazon. I have been doing book signings all over the country. I have been on lots and lots of television and radio and podcasts, and I'm just spreading the word. I mean, it's just recently been published, so it's a new book, and I'm not shutting up because this is such a need, and I'm watching what is happening, and that is so sad. And I just I can't do it for my progeny. I just can't do it. I can't remain silent.
So IQ, uh, you have any more questions here for the doctor before we go to Larry?
No, but I mean, the important thing is, as I said, it's a social problem. It's an American problem, actually. Committing suicide in Europe is not the same thing as committing suicide in America. It's something which is phenomenal to America.
Not based upon what I learned from the feedback from the men all over the world who are commenting to me. I don't know if they're not succeeding in suicide or they're afraid to do it, but the ideations of suicide are in their heads. And I worry about that. And even if it is mostly in America, trust me, it is spreading based upon the feedback that I'm getting.
Mm.
So we've got to be very aggressive now.
So Larry Tracy, any more thoughts here or questions for the good doctor?
No, I think that's it. I find that's so compelling, especially in the background of the Sweeney ad, that I was just flabbergasted that people reacted that way when I thought, what a clever ad that was. And now they come out and they said it's propaganda. It's what Hitler said. It looked like it was something they were waiting for, something that could bring out the Hitler again and the fascism and all. And they're really making themselves look silly by
So
that.
stupid and idiotic. And I said that on one of my shorts that was published on one of the TikTok or Instagram. I said, this is absolutely stupid. Just stupid and idiotic. How they got from A to B is, I lost something here. I just didn't get it.
They
Well, the
got from
people on
A
the
to
far left
Z.
are basically talking to themselves and ignoring the fact of how they look to others. The middle America, et cetera, is probably saying the same thing that we're saying. How could you make a comparison of an ad for jeans, a play on words, and then convert it into
Right.
hateful political talk?
I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So
So as we wrap up here, let's start with IQ Al Rizzoli. IQ, what did you think of today's show and our guests? And
As always, your shows are fantastic because you bring the most controversial people. And doctor, you are amazing, and I wish you the best.
thank
But
you so
don't
much.
worry. You should worry about the American men. Don't worry about anybody else. In
Well,
Asia, in Africa, the men are dominant. They don't give anything for. I
yeah,
don't want to use
I,
bad language.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
So Larry Tracy, where can we get your book, and give us a wrap up on the
Well,
guests and everything today?
it's on Amazon like everything. I'm also working with a group that is looking to sell it to European and others. We have to change the title because How to Bring Home the Bacon will not sell well in Muslim countries or any place. It is, doctor. It's a book on persuasive speaking,
Uh,
and terms such as that I bring from the military, such as murder board for a practice session, that's got to be changed. I will call it a presentation simulator to continue the comparison of a flight simulator. But on current events, James, I think the thing we have to really be looking at and then perhaps discuss next week is the upcoming meeting of Trump and Putin. Putin is a bully, and let's face it, we like Trump. Trump is a bully, and he's going to have to really bring out the fact that Putin that we're going to bankrupt him by bringing oil onto the market. If the oil drops below a certain price, he's in a world of hurt. He can't support the war he's fighting in. He's losing so many soldiers. He's no longer feared by NATO. NATO is probably now looking, maybe would like to take a crack at him because he's so much weaker than he is. He's lost terrible amounts of soldiers. But I go back to the point that I've made all the time, James. Ukraine cannot win a war of attrition, not against a country as large as Russia. So I think Trump's idea of getting this down, and Russia will have to get something out of it probably, so Putin doesn't lose face completely. So some of the territory will probably go to it, but it still falls short of what he wanted initially, was to make this the first step in recreating the Soviet empire. And he'll have to eat a little mud on this. But if he comes back without it, you watch, there could be people overthrowing him. So it's a dangerous point for him. The fact that he has agreed to the talks, if he has, we don't know that, that's a good sign. But Trump's got to use all of his bulliness as well to push him in and get that war ended.
I believe he will. I originate from New York, so I know Donald Trump. I've seen him operate. He is quite a manipulator. He really knows how to make deals and how to win.
He's done it. I mean, the deals that are flowing in,
Brilliant.
and
And
the fact that the jobs market did not come up, and he wound up firing the statistician. Get another statistician in, but I don't see how the jobs could be dropping down with all the money flowing in, all the investments coming in, the change of attitude on there. So hopefully they'll get that straightened out. And now we have the other thing. We're looking to colonize the moon. And I watched a video of someone saying, well, given our history with colonialism, is that a good idea? And I just said, where are these people coming from? It's the same people with the genes. So
I knew when I heard you speak initially, I knew you were a wordsmith. So God bless you. Thank you.
Well, Doctor, as we wrap up here with you, my friend, how do we get your book, get involved with everything you're doing online, everything?
Well, go to my website, drgilda.com, drgilda.com. You'll have more information about the book and all the work that I do. I'm a strategist in business and relationships. Before I wrote the book, well, I was writing other books, but I also have been a performance coach for many, many years in corporate America on Wall Street, Main Street. I have done lots of things to uplift the bottom line in many organizations. And I'm very proud of the things that I have accomplished, but it's always with pushback from some groups. And not unlike Lawrence Tracy, I do media training for people who have to deal with hostile audiences. So I delivered a paper for IEEE a couple of years ago about how to deal with a hostile audience. I've written books about these and articles about doing that. And so personally, ladies, I'm ready for you. Come on, get your gloves on because I am ready for you. You want to put down men, you're going to be in for a big surprise about how this comes back to bite you.
That is awesome. Well, I really appreciate you making time for us today, Doctor. You have been phenomenal. IQ and Larry, we will talk to both of you guys next week. And Doctor, I will be getting a hold of you very soon. Appreciate it, everybody.
Okay. Uh-oh. See you guys.
See
Have
ya.
a good one.